Hello and welcome to this edition of Upfront. I'm your host, Nancy Wilmot. And I think it's fair to say that all of us have had to learn and adjust to all sorts of different issues and challenges during the past 2 years. One of the first ones was the question of supply chain disruption. Were ferries going to be able to get over to Vancouver Island with all the foods and essential goods that we needed? And I do remember specifically visiting my local grocery store in about April of 2020 and seeing large gaps in the produce section. The food that I was used to being able to buy just wasn't available. And suddenly everybody was talking about local food production. Well, today's guest has been talking about local food production for much longer than 2 years. I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Guy Langois, the farm manager and special projects manager at Shelter Farm. Guy, welcome to Upfront.
Hi, Nancy. Nice to see you.
It's good to see you as well. And Shelter Farm has been around for a couple of years. It's just outside of town on Ship Creek Road. People would recognize the location as the Old Potato Farm. I often hear it called the Old Potato Farm property. But a lot of people aren't really familiar with what Shelter Farm is because it's pretty special. So could we start off with you just telling us what is Shelter Farm?
Okay. Well, Shelter Farm's a social enterprise run by the Port Alberni Shelter Society. We started farming at the Old Potato Farm about 3.5 years ago. And before that, it hadn't been farmed for about 18 years. So it was nice to get back onto that field. There wasn't not too much there at the time when we moved on. There were some old barns and no greenhouse, no water, and no electricity. So we had to put all that infrastructure in. And luckily, we were able to get some grants. We got a grant from the Rural Dividend Fund to get us started, and the Vancouver Foundation helped us develop a plan. What we did is the goal of the project was to engage youth in agriculture, and we were finding that our farmers aging out in the field, and there was no succession planning, and some farms are just reverting back to the province, and also being developed for real estate, subdivisions, things like that. And the price of land has got so expensive that young people are having a really hard time even thinking about getting into farming. So we developed this project to remove the barriers that youth experience when they want to get into farming. And we've been very successful over the last 3.5 years. Last year we had over 50 people engaged in various programs at the farm. And we're running our education programs, and we also had employment programs that we had there in partnership with Inyo Employment Services. These programs targeted people with disabilities, homelessness, poverty, and we were able to provide supports for all these people, help them get back on their feet. It was an amazing year last year. For most people, it was it was a big struggle for people because of COVID, and we didn't shut down at all. We were deemed an essential service, and we're able to respect social distancing protocols. Luckily, farming is like that. We're out in the field, and it's on open air, and we're keeping our distance. And if we ever had to work closer together, we were wearing our face mask. But we endured, and we had our most successful year yet. We started a CSA, a community supported agriculture program at the farm, and that was very successful. We had 35 people involved, and I know you're one of our customers.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk more about the CSA program later on in the show, because now is the time to sign up, folks, if you want to get involved in this. But before we do that, I just want to touch on the other big thing that has happened out at Shelter Farm this year, and that's the opening of the therapeutic community. Could you touch on that just briefly? I know it's a big story, but just
That's we're very fortunate to get some funding in partnership with Canadian Mental Health Association and and the province to support us developing a therapeutic recovery community. So there's a house on the property that we lease from a philanthropist here in our community. And we're fortunate to be able to offer 6 recovery beds. And clients are referred to us by Island Health, and they the program is for women only at this time. In the future, we will be including men in the program, but at this time, it's for women. And the women are recovering from trauma and addictions. So it's what we call second stage housing, where the people in the program coming from recovery programs, which are typically very short-term programs, and typically they just after the program they go right back on the street or back in the same environment they were in before, and it's sometimes they just fall back into the same old pattern and their addictions or abuse, and unfortunately, this is a long-term solution where we offer up to 2.5 years for people to work there, learn skills. They'll be engaged at the farm. We're really happy that we're able to have this program there because it opens the farm to a lot more opportunities, like having animals at the farm, because then we have somebody there to tend and take care of them all the time. Yeah.
I think this is such an exciting undertaking at the farm and through the Shelter Society. And
Yes.
I actually went out earlier this week to speak to one of your employees. Now, she's not a member of the therapeutic community, she's an employee. But she started off as a student who thought she was just taking a course in market gardening. So let's take a look. This is Vanessa.
Started working at Shelter Farm because I wanted to go back to school and I wasn't really too sure what I wanted to do when I went back to school, and they had this wonderful pilot program, and I looked around my house. I had all these plants and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. And so I took the program and it was wonderful, and it turns out like that was the thing that I absolutely love. The Shelter Farm's really big on community, and so we really want to make a huge change for the future where it comes to feeding not only like the people who are in the shelter, but as well as like the community and as well as like our own families and ourselves. And it's great because it's small scale, but you know, the more people that are coming into the Shelter Farm now they're contributing to like making a huge difference, which is great. It is so therapeutic when you end up, no matter where you come from, no matter what struggles you used to have in your life, you end up leaving there refreshed, and you end up feeling just like you learned so much, not just about like the farm, but as much as like yourself. And we all kind of help each other and we talk to each other, and it's a lot of personal growth, not just farm growth, it's a lot of personal growth too, which is great. So when not just being surrounded by nature, but as well as like getting your hands into the dirt, you end up having like that fresh air, the sun on your face, and getting your hands dirty. You have all these microbes like and this energy just going straight into from your hands to every inch of your body, and you leave there refreshed, and it's great. It's great, yeah. At the farm, like I said, we all work as a team, and we try to get, like, if you do have low self-esteem, we try and get you to be more involved, because I mean, it is therapeutic, and I mean, if you need some time to yourself that day, we give it to you. But we also like work to pushing your boundaries a little bit, so then you do kind of go outside your comfort zone just a little bit, so then you do end up gaining a lot of confidence. So it's something that you've never learned before, you know, we try and make sure it's a positive experience, so then when you do leave there, you feel more confident and be like, hey, I can do this, no problem. When I was 9, my hugest thing was I told my mom I was going to change the world one day. And it might be small, but small changes make bigger changes for the future. And I feel like we are starting to do that, like very slowly, but we're changing the world little by little.
Oh my gosh, Guy, it chokes me up just to think about Vanessa changing the world one small step at the time. That must make you feel so proud of the work that's being done out there.
Yes, it's very gratifying to see the success stories. That's what motivates me. I've been involved with helping people for a very, very long time. Started working with artists up in the Northwest Territories, helping them, and then moving down to the Vancouver Island, work for the Cowichan tribe, building houses, and work for the folk society down there, folk music society. And then moving up island to work at farm at Cedar Woods. Worked there for a while. We developed a therapeutic recovery, no, therapeutic horticultural therapeutic community.
It's hard to keep the name straight.
Yes, that's right. Yes. And previous to that, I was working at Providence Farm when we built some structures out there with my carpenter students for alpacas. And then I moved to Port Alberni, which was really exciting. And I worked at the college and developed programs for the construction laborer program. And then I worked for Inyo Employment Services as an employment counselor, and then at the Shelter Society. So all that background sort of groomed me for this position where I am now. I have a very unique set of skills that I'm able to develop programs and develop curriculums for the college and universities, and be able to work with people that really need a hand, to get out of poverty and make their lives better.
Wow, that's quite a calling. I mean, it's so heartwarming to hear you talk about it, Guy. I want to move though to the agricultural component because you are a production facility. You are a farm that is producing, that is growing all summer long. In fact, I think you're growing goods products right now. What
Mhm.
exactly do you grow and how do you market it?
Well, we grow 70 different types of crops. Most farms wouldn't grow so many crops. They'll probably select maybe one or two and monocrop because it's more productive. But we're a teaching farm and also a therapeutic farm, we're teaching more sustainable method of growing food. And our partnership with North Island College has been fabulous over the years. It's allowed us to reach out to people more and gave us some more credibility. People come from the program and they have certification and the skills that they can go work at other farms. Yeah.
Yeah. And part of that, I mean, I see Shelter Farm down at the farmer's market all through the growing season. You have a table set up there. But part of that, and a large part of what I want to talk to you about today, is the CSA program. And this is something new. Last year was the first year you offered it. What is it and how does it work?
Well, it's the first year we started with the Food RX program with
Right.
was in partnership with the Transition Town Society and Island Health. And at the time, there wasn't too many farmers in our region growing food, and so we're it. And was lucky that we were at that time. That was just when the COVID
Yeah.
pandemic started, and our market disappeared overnight. Like we were selling mostly to restaurants on the West Coast and in town, and going to the farmers market. That disappeared, vaporized overnight, and it was like, unfortunately, like we that's all we had. And the Food RX program came about, and we were able to provide our fresh produce to the program, and
Yeah.
that program, people were able to access fresh food, and the reaction, what we heard from them, was fabulous. Like it really, these people are coming from hospital after surgery, cancer treatments, and things like that, and it brightened their day.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
cars come in. Yeah.
Yeah, and you viewers won't know what the RX food program was. I'm going to take a quick minute because this was a pilot program and it was
Yep.
offered. There were several different groups, including Island Health, had come together, and it delivered a box of fresh, locally produced food
Right.
every week to people who were being discharged from West Coast General Hospital. And was it 6 weeks? I forget the length, but it was a
Yeah.
wonderful program, and you were a part of it. You were a big part of it.
Yeah, it was in the fall, and
Yeah.
it saved our bacon because we didn't really have a market for a lot of our produce. So
Yeah.
then that sort of inspired us to run our own CSA for the next year.
Wow.
And the Food RX didn't run last year, but we ran our own program and had 35 subscribers. It was our first year running a CSA for the farm, and people embraced it. The reaction we got from our customers was fantastic. There were a few people that didn't uh, like it because they were getting a lot of greens, and they thought it was like a grocery store. You go pick what you want, but it's
Uh-huh.
seasonal vegetables,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for some people it didn't work. But for the most part, everybody was happy. And last year we were able to provide mushrooms, gourmet mushrooms, and
Yeah.
microgreens. We added that to what we offer.
Yeah. And, before we go any further, I had a
Yep.
chance to talk to another one of the young women that works out at the farm, Claire, who's production manager, who explains quite a bit about what a CSA program is.
CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And so the idea is that by purchasing a CSA share at the beginning of the season, it supports farmers throughout the season to be able to know how much we need to grow and have the funds to do that up front. It's really helpful for us because we get our payment at the beginning, so that allows us to plan and have the funds to be able to pay the farmers and afford the seeds at the beginning of the year. That's a time of year where, for most farms, it's kind of the tight financial time of year. So getting that kind of kickstart at the beginning really helps us for the season. I was pretty nervous the first couple weeks of the CSA, but it turned out last year we had an abundance of produce. So many people worked together to make it happen, and it worked out really well. We are really used to going to the grocery store and there being the same thing on the shelf all the time, and that's just not realistic for if you're wanting to eat locally. I think that's of utmost importance right now, especially with everything that's been going on with supply chain issues and extreme weather events. I think it's becoming more and more obvious, and I hope people are waking up to the reality that's been with us for a long time, that local food security is really extremely important, and yeah, we need to support local farmers to make that happen. There's different things depending on the time of year, depending on the year too. Like some years it's really hot and you get a great tomato crop. Other years it's pouring rain and it's not as good for that, but you get a lot of lettuce, So it's really, I think it's really good for people to learn about seasonal crops and what's available when, and get to enjoy food while it's fresh. Very proud to be working at Shelter Farm. The farm is, it's so many great things for me. I've been gardening and farming for about 15 years now. And I love working with plants, watching things grow, and doing the physical work. But the Shelter Farm kind of hits both worlds because we're addressing kind of the environmental side by doing sustainable small-scale farming, and then the social side as well, and supporting people. And I think that's really important, and I feel really honored to be working with the people that come out to the farm.
Guy, once again, we have one of the employees out at Shelter Farm who believes so strongly in what you're doing. And man, oh man, it just chokes me up every time I listen to both Claire and Vanessa.
Mhm.
Now, Claire gave a pretty good description of what the CSA program is, community supported agriculture. And I hadn't really thought about what it means to a farm to have the income up front, to have enough income at the beginning of the year. That had to be a big deal.
Yes, it is. This year, our target goal is to subscribe 60 people to our CSA. And that, if we are successful, that would give us $40,000 of working capital at the beginning of the year. And that's really precious to farmers. So we can plan and pay some of the labor, and helps us pay for the seeds and fertilizer and equipment that we need. we're also relying on other sales through the year, through the farmers market and through our commercial sales to the West Coast and restaurants. But the CSA is a big chunk of our budget for sure.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier that I'm one of the customers that I had signed up. Now, I just want to tell people my husband and I eat a plant-based diet. We eat a lot of vegetables during the week. So we signed up for a full share. We couldn't keep up with it. There was so much food.
Yeah.
So we've reduced to a half share this year. So I think Claire says a full share would be suitable for a family of 4 or 5. Yes, believe her. There's a lot of food.
Yeah.
Good value for the money. Holy cow, you guys were really cranking it out last summer.
Yeah, well, the peak of the season, we're packing the bags full of produce at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the season, it gets a little leaner, you know. But
But I got a pumpkin in time for Halloween. Whoa, I had a jack-o'-lantern.
yeah, yeah, we were growing melons and pumpkins. We grew everything. It was and everything's grown organically without chemicals. We use like worm compost for worm castings for fertilizer, those kind of things.
Wow.
Yeah.
And can we talk nuts and bolts? How do people sign up?
Oh,
Where will they pick up the food? And can we talk money? Is it too early in the season to talk money?
no, of course not. Well, it's really easy. They can go to the Port Alberni Shelter Society webpage, and there's a blog there. You can contact me directly. My phone number is 250-720-5177. And my email is Guy, Guy _ PA Shelter @shaw.ca. Yeah, and then I'll get a form to you. We can sign up and we'll do an e-transfer. And so it's that simple.
It is that simple, and it is such good value. And it was really fun. Now I picked up my share every Saturday morning at the farmers market. Got me out there bright and early, so I was always one of the first people there. But
Yeah.
you can choose to pick up either at the farmers market or during the week, I believe.
Yeah, during the week on Wednesday afternoons, we have a pickup point at our kitchen at 3689 Third Avenue.
Third Avenue.
Yeah, it's right. It's part of our community outreach center. Our OPS is right on the corner. So 2 doors down, there's our kitchen that we've developed, and we offer food production and processing program training.
Wow.
And we have that coming up in February 7th. So people can actually register for that program. It's free if you're eligible. And to be eligible, basically being unemployed or underemployed and being Canadian citizen, there's not too many restrictions at all. And we have a Red Seal chef. Vivian Cruz is our Red Seal chef, and she has a provincial instructor diploma and has many, many years of experience as a chef internationally and a passion for making preserves. When I first met Vivian, she gave me a jar of jam. Instead of a business card, it was a jar of jam, and it was the best jam I've had in my life, for sure.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that impressed me a lot. But more so, she's just a really nice person and very, very intelligent. She likes to share her passion for food, music, art, culture, and nutrition. The students that were in the program, she whipped them in shape. A lot of them had some, not the greatest diets, because living in poverty can be tough, to find the money to buy groceries. It's a real challenge for many, many people. And I'm happy to say that all those people that were in the program got fed so well. They got fed breakfast, lunch, and supper for like the 2 months that they were in the program. And then there was a work experience at the end. This year it'll be a 2-week work experience, and we'll place them in jobs that are around our community. It could be at the Doc Plus at the processing facility. It could be at Quality Foods in a deli department, or it could be in a kitchen as a kitchen helper. So there's lots of opportunity. COVID has created a lot of opportunities in the food and beverage industry.
Yeah. And I just want to clarify this course, and I think it's called Food Production and Processing.
Yes.
It's offered in conjunction with North Island College. So this is a genuine, real course. This is school, people.
Yeah, that's tough for some people, especially some of our older students that haven't been in school for a long time. But it's really easy. It's hands-on learning. You learn how to cook. She'll take you right from the basics, how to use the knives, and how to read a recipe, and then you'll learn how to make preserves. It's a wonderful program.
Wow. And the physical location where this is being offered, is this on Third Avenue or is it at the dock or
It's
where?
on Third Avenue, but because it's food production, we try to go out to the farm. And last year, the students actually helped plant our strawberry beds, and they were working in the greenhouse. They'd go every Friday and spend, an afternoon out there. And what was wonderful is they made these meals. So every Friday we had this huge buffet of food. It was amazing. So the farm crew out there was ecstatic. They never ate so well.
I betcha. Now, this course starts, I think, February 7th. So people need to sign up soon. How do they sign up?
Yeah, just contact Leanne Moore at North Island College through continuing education, and yeah, it's that easy.
They can say they saw Guy on TV. He was talking about the food production and they're going to get fed really well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. Guy, we are starting to run out of time here. There is so much we could talk about. Like,
Yes,
this
there
topic
is.
goes on forever. And I know it's such a passion of yours.
It is. It's a wonderful project, and it's getting better all the time. I think with the addition of the therapeutic recovery community, it's going to be a huge resource for our community and helping people get well. This has been hard on so many people the last few years, and we really need it. Mental health is like an invisible problem, and so many people are going through hard times, and we're here to help.
Yeah. So my next question is pretty basic. How can the community help you? This is a huge resource for the community. It's a feather in our cap to have you out there. How
Yeah.
can we support you?
Well, buy our produce at the farmers market or sign up for the CSA. Some people volunteer out at the farm, and they're welcome to come out anytime. It's a great experience to meet people and get your hands in the dirt. It's very therapeutic. If you're having any problems with anxiety and depression, or if you need any help at all, just reach out, and we'll find a place for you at the farm. And there are just so many opportunities out there.
Oh, well, Guy, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for what you do in our community.
Oh, my pleasure. And to you out there who joined us today on this edition of Upfront, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.